Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I hope that you are having a great day. I should say the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you viewers, but you are participants and family, and I love you so much. Like to also say thank you to my moderators. You are the best to ever do it, bar none. I could not and would not do this without you. Now, I know yesterday I said that I was going to talk about Section 8, but I'm actually going to wait for tomorrow. That way Donovan can really be on because he's typically not here on Monday, but Tuesday we'll have that conversation. And I think we're going to talk about something else because, Donovan and I will do our podcast and we'll do a live show. There's a brother by the name of Julian Brown who is missing. He had an invention, I guess, with plastics and things like that, and he's missing. So we want to have that conversation. I don't know if we'll have it on the podcast or we'll have it live with you. But nevertheless, we will have both of those conversations because it's very important that we discuss him. Because if he's truly missing, which there's a lot of, conspiracy theories, I guess you could say, as to why he may be missing, we need to get the word out. So we're definitely going to have that conversation tomorrow as well. Today, we're going to be talking about Trump wanting Beyonce, of all people, prosecuted for allegedly taking millions to endorse Kamala. Now, I should also say at the top, and I'm waiting for everybody to come on in here, this is not necessarily about Beyonce. It's a larger conversation. So I just want to save those the trouble that'll come in here and say, well, you know what, we talking about Beyonce. We are, but we're not, right? I think there's a little bit more to it. And Amber, this where you might find a little joy. Because we're going to be tying in some things to, Trump and wanting her along with other people prosecuted, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But nevertheless, we're going to get into that. So let's see who is on here before we get started. Amber, yes, I saw your comment. African Native, what's going on with you? No reparation, no vote. Hope you're doing well. Willie, he says the orange one is trying everything to get people out. You jump in the lead. But yes. The Jeffrey E files, Obama, Oprah, and Beyonce. Guess he's thinking let's throw them MAGA some dark meat. No pun intended, right? Sunlight, how you doing? Ernest, what's going on with you? Troy, hope you're doing well. Money moves. Yes, catching the live. Yes, you are. Lynette, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Seth, what is up? Mike, nice. One of my most beloved moderators. Love you so much. Cloudness, what's going on? Brother Reggie, another beloved moderator. And y'all, please go follow Brother Reggie on his channel as he is talking some good stuff about Japan, life in Japan, which I love Japan, right? I've been there. King Noble, what's going on? He says, we all know Trump is deranged. Do you think so? And Mia, I hope I said that right. How you doing? Buck Horse in the building. Hope you're doing well. King Charles, what's going on? Says, you're not mad at Trump? Oh, okay. Well, this is going to be an interesting conversation. The Rock, how you doing? Says, prosecute all the Kamala Sambos. Woo, is that what we're doing now? All right. Well, I see how you guys feel. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this kind of started, I think it was in May, right? Well, let's go back to the election of 2024. Of course, Kamala and Trump, they were going head to head. Kamala for the Democrats, Trump for the Republicans. Of course, we know what happened. Trump ended up winning. But while Kamala was campaigning, and she was only campaigning with like 90 days, give or take, something like that. Very short campaign because up until that point, Joe Biden was like, no, I'm running. Am I running? Yeah, I'm running. Then, of course, he dropped out at the very end, and she wasn't primary to anything. There was like, okay, we're not going to primary anybody. We're going to have Kamala step up. So with that, she raised, they said, over $1 billion. Okay. $1 billion. I think that's historical, the amount of money that she raised. But nevertheless, she raised over $1 billion, and she had all these stars and everybody come out. Everybody got money. Roland got money. Al Sharpton, everybody got money, right? And Beyonce allegedly was one of those. Her name is thrown out there a lot. Allegedly got money. Now, back in May this year, Trump kind of brought it up like, there's going to be a full investigation. And this is what he tweeted recently. So it says, I'm looking at the large amount of money owed by the Democrats because, Kamala was in debt, right? She owed some money after raising all that money. So it says that after the presidential election and the fact that they admit to paying probably illegally $11 million to singer Beyonce for an endorsement. She never sang not one note and left the stage to a booing and angry audience. $3 million for expenses, quote unquote, to Oprah. $600,000 to very low-rated TV anchor Al Sharpton, a total lightweight, and to others to be named for doing absolutely nothing. These ridiculous fees were incorrectly stated in the books and records. You are not allowed to pay for an endorsement. It's totally illegal to do so. Can you imagine what would happen if politicians started paying people to endorse them? All hell would break loose. Kamala and all those that received endorsements money broke the law. They should all be prosecuted. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sound like you're real spicy, right? Well, the truth of the matter is, per the FEC Filing, Federal Election Commission, there was no trace or anything of Beyonce getting $11 million, right? They say we don't have any record of that because campaigns have to report what, the money they get and the money they spend out, right? It's like an expense report. So they have to report that. They're saying we have no record of that. Of course, Kamala's team is saying we didn't give Beyonce any money. The other amount I heard was 10 million. Now he's saying 11. They're saying she didn't get that. Tina Knowles, which is her mom, was like, it's a lie. Beyonce used all of her own stuff. She took her own plane, paid for everything, so she didn't receive anything. Now, of course, you know that Beyonce showed up in Houston in October of last year, and she says, I'm not here as a celebrity. I'm not here as a politician. I am here as a mother, right? So she, said a couple of words with Kelly Rowland, and they pretty much left the stage. Now, I don't know if people were booing, and we kind of heard that, but I guess they thought she was going to put on a concert like Megan Thee Stallion, and she didn't. So he's saying that they should be prosecuted. Sounds like, I don't know, he's kind of honed in on Beyonce a little bit. But the other thing is, per the FEC, it's not against the law to pay celebrities. If your campaign wanted to do that, it's not against the law to pay them. You can do that if you want, per what they're saying. They're saying there's no rule saying they can't do it. So she's not, or anybody, if they've gotten any money, have not broken the law. Okay, so let me remove this. Now, this is the issue, okay? And this is where a lot of people are starting to say. They're starting to say, okay, Trump, other than the normal, right, may be off his rocker. And I would say that it's looking like he is, right? Because I don't know if you guys have watched some of his press conferences and things like that, where he's just kind of all over the place. He's saying stuff. He was with Jerome Powell, if I'm not mistaken, last week, and he inflated some number. I forget what it was. And Jerome Powell was standing next to him. He's the chair of the Feds, right? So Jerome Powell was standing next to him, and he's shaking his head like, no, that's wrong. The number's wrong. And Trump was like, no, it's right. And then Tim Scott, everybody else had on a hard hat, but Tim Scott, I guess it was like this, hold on a second. Hold on. I guess they was like, this guy here don't need a hard hat, right? But Tim Scott was sitting next to him like, oh, yeah, no, basically co-signing Trump. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. And Jerome was like, no, that's not right. It's wrong. And then Trump was like, well, it's for a building. They're making a building. And Jerome was like, that building was built 5 years ago. And just some other things, right? It's just kind of, let's keep it a buck. Trump is known to lie a lot. But the lies that he's telling now is just so obvious. It's like, dude, you just kind of saying any and everything that, a third grader would know it, whether it's true or not. But anyway, back to what I was saying. A lot of people feel like, this is a distraction from the Epstein files, okay? Now, this is the situation. People are mad because of the expectation of transparency. Many believe the administration would make the files public due to Trump's frequent statements against political corruption and draining the swamp, right? We've heard him talking about he's draining the swamp. once he gets to Washington. Okay, it sounds like he's doing it now, a second term, kind of, sort of. It says, when the documents remained sealed during his term, critics saw it as a missed opportunity for accountability. Okay, now it says the Epstein network reportedly included powerful individuals from politics, business, and entertainment. The lack of disclosure fueled speculation that influential figures were being protected. Now, Epstein's death in 2019, while in federal custody, sparked conspiracy theories. Of course, people said that he himself is a conspiracy theory. Well, that's what they said, but they're like, nah, we don't think so, right? And the distrust in the justice system. People expected the files to clarify who was connected to Epstein and to ensure all accomplices were exposed and prosecuted, right? Now, critics on both the left and right accuse the administration of covering up to protect, names, political allies, and wealthy elites, undermining claims that Trump was targeting corruption, right? Now, even after some documents were later unsealed during other administrations, many names and details were heavily redacted. That means that they were blacked out, right? You couldn't see them, which continued the perception of secrecy and lack of accountability, okay? Now, this is the other issue. Photos and reports confirm that Trump and Epstein knew each other in the 1990s and early 2000s, attending the same parties and social circles, even though Trump later said he wasn't a fan, right? And he would call him a creep, It says those ties make some people suspect that he may appear in the documents, right? Because it's like, okay, if you're not in the documents, and this is the speculation or the conversation, if you're not in the documents, why don't you just release them, right? If you're draining the swamp and you want to hold people accountable, why don't you show us those files, okay? Now, critics argue that whenever Epstein-related topics resurface, Trump tends to make bold statements or spark headlines about unrelated issues, which fuels suspicion that it's intentional. Unrelated issues, wanting to lock up Beyonce, right, or prosecute her for taking this alleged $11 million that has been debunked, right, by the feds, for essentially has been debunked that she did not get $11 million, but he wants to, in a sense, die on that hill, right? It goes in the vein of, we're going after Democrats. And listen, I'm not saying they don't need to be gone after, but in this sense, is it a distraction? Okay. Now, because the full Epstein client list and files were never released during Trump's administration, some see it as evidence of wanting to keep potential connections hidden. Now, the Epstein case is surrounded by conspiracy theories involving both parties. For Trump, critics on the left often suspect distraction, while supporters argue the opposite, that Trump avoided release to protect himself from a setup by political enemies. So with that, I believe, that a lot of the stuff we're hearing about Beyonce and all this other stuff is a distraction, somebody said it's dark meat, whatever for the base, right? Because it's really his base, MAGA, who's really like, we with you. When you cutting off different programs and all this other stuff, we with you with that. But somehow we can't, not a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are like, we just can't really sleep at night until we know that you at least were not on the list, because we know the allegations that came out of Lolita Island, which is what Jeffrey Epstein owned, and that there was some strange things going on with some kids, right? So they're like, we cannot rock with a PDF file, if you will, right? Some of those girls were allegedly, or not allegedly, but were like, I think, 14, 15, give or take, somewhere around there. So Trump is in trouble. Now, when I say in trouble, he's in trouble with his base. So to me, I think he's just kind of throwing things out there to see what's going to stick. If I give him Beyonce, will that count? Now, I think what's going to happen is the beehive is going to get on his orange behind. And you might have some slight issues there. Obviously, I'm joking. But the other question I want to ask y'all, and then I'm going to shut up and get into the comment section, is at what point do we start saying, okay, this is lunacy? At what point do we start saying, wow, we should take the Democrats to task? And y'all know how we get down here, okay? The Democrats take it to the woodshed here. While we should do that, at what point do we start saying, okay, Trump, this is a lot of foolishness going on? Because it's not even about Beyonce. It's like, what are you hiding from, potentially? Anyway, let me go on and get into the comment section, as I know that I'm probably behind already, but that's okay. Oh no, I'm not actually. Great. All right, who else haven't I seen? Miss Allie, how you doing? Says interesting. He may have a case. Well, he doesn't really, because there's no evidence that Beyonce has taken any money from Kamala, unless they, laundered it. I guess maybe that's a possibility. But there's actually no evidence that she did. But with all the things going on in the country, you want to go after Beyonce? I don't know. Yeah, Brother Reggie. So closer to $2 billion from what they're saying Kamala raised. Warren, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see, who else do we have on here? And Warren says, go out to your son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Oh, so you're talking about Trump's son-in-law, Ivanka. That's who he's married to. The unsubscribed queen, how you doing? You also say he needs to release the files, period. Right? Like, what's taking you so long? Because my thing is, if I'm not guilty and I'm not in nothing, I'm going to say, hey, take a look, right? But then there's other speculation. Maybe he's protecting the homies, right? Because it's speculated that there's people on both sides of the aisle and in between and all that are, that's in this file. But, of course, he said, because remember, Pam Bondi, his attorney general, was like, I got the files on my desk. Yeah, we're going to be releasing them. His director of the FBI, Kash Patel, before he became that, he was on that. We need to release the files, on all these podcasts. And the other cat, I forget his name, starts with a B, that works with him there at the FBI. They were both on that. We need to get the Epstein files. And now they're saying, well, there's nothing really to it. It's like, if you guys don't knock it off, But they did say they would release the transcripts from the file, from the trial. It's like, will you really? Really? But of course, then they went on break early. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, he said, okay, we all going on recess early, so they wouldn't have to take a vote on whether they should release the transcripts or not. So they're definitely skirting around the issue. African Native said he has to prosecute himself first. FBA Strong, how you doing? Says he needs to relax and worry about his situation. There you go. Dimple Face, how you doing? Says it should be a crime, but you know how America is. That a 34-time felon is leading this country into the ground. But if I were to have a misdemeanor and want to work at a hotel, they go nuts. Yeah. The system is never meant to, often it's not meant to help Black Americans, but it's not really meant to help anybody but the elite, right? Look at all the stuff that they're allowed to do, per se, and they get away with it, So, yeah. Brother Reddy says, yeah, because they pay their management or production companies like Harpo Productions. I mean, that could be the case too. But where is it listed in the FEC that any of that was done, right? It has to be somewhere. I mean, again, because when you run a campaign, which I haven't necessarily run a campaign, but I know the inner workings of it, you got to report that stuff. They want to know who you got it from and what you did with it, Not saying people don't launder it, because sometimes people do, right? King Charles, he says, laugh out loud. Trump said he's going to get his lick back from the Democrats. Says, I agree, arrest that Kamala Collard Green Harris character. Well, I guess the question is, arrest her for what? What she should be arrested for? I mean, I'm not saying she shouldn't be arrested. I don't know everything. What should she be arrested for? And because the reason why I'm saying this really has nothing to do with Beyonce. And the question I asked, at what point do we say, okay, enough of the foolishness? You know what I mean? At what point? Because I don't know if y'all saw that meme that Trump put up somewhere, a Truth Social. This is where he's mostly putting the stuff on his own social media website. Reenacting the scene, when OJ was running from the popo in Los Angeles during the trial or whatever, or before the trial, when he was accused of his ex-wife. So there's that Bronco scene. So, of course, in OJ's spot is Obama. And then behind him in the police car, he's got a picture of himself, Trump, chasing Obama. So it's like, okay, that's funny on the surface, but what about the Epstein files? You hardy-ha-ha and a little too much, The unsubscribed queen says, I'm sure she got paid, but don't they all? Yeah, I guess to some degree. But again, they're saying that she didn't. They being the fan says she didn't. Not saying maybe they didn't slide it under the rug or something. I don't know. But per $11 million is kind of hard to hide. Unless, like Brother Reggie said, they said, oh, here, give it to this organization, that, and then it funnels back to Beyonce. that could happen. But as far as her, thank you for the 3 sentences you said. I wouldn't have paid her $11 million for that. But, you know, Kamala she was just flinging money everywhere, right? All right, so let's see. Amber says the president is a felon who was found liable for fraud and sexual abuse. He has been out on bail since 2023 August. This is the person who wants every single Democrat and Beyonce to be prosecuted. What he wants and what he'll actually get are 2 different things. But then again, I mean, this is nothing new. Trump is kind of that guy, you know, with the, as somebody said, it's red meat for his base. And that says a lot about his base. You know, if you just following any old bone that somebody throwing, that says a lot about the base. Let's see. Sister Shirley, how you doing? Cynthia, what's going on with you? Zaya, what's up? He says, I believe President Trump, Beyonce is very greedy for money. I don't believe she did nothing for free. I hope Beyonce goes to jail. Well, I don't know why she would go to jail. I don't know if she did it for free or not. I'm just telling you what was reported and what, you know, it was reported nothing for the FEC. I like Beyonce. I'm not in a beehive per se. But I'm also one of those people, I want you to go to jail for something you actually should be going to jail for. I don't want you to go to jail because I don't like you, you know, or whatever the case is. Because if you think about it, if Beyonce has not been proven to take any money, why should she go to jail? I'm just asking questions. I'm about to put on my devil's advocate robe. Okay, African Native says Trump is losing his mind. I think so too, and I'm not trying to be mean. I think the dude is, you know, he got some really swollen ankles too. Because not too long ago, people noticed that his ankles were swollen and like busting out of his shoes almost, right? And I guess he's got like some bruises and stuff or whatever on the back of his hands. So it prompted him to go to the doctor, and the doctor, you know, released a report, said that he got something going on with his legs or whatever. But other than that, he's fine. So yeah. Let's see who else is on here. Yeah, the King Charles, you ain't got to tell me. I know the Democrats be lying, which is why I'm not one anymore. I used to be a Democrat back in the day. I'm not a Democrat no more. You know, Democrats do lie, and they lie a lot to Black people, right? So I'm not, and I guess I should reiterate, I'm not here to defend the Democrats. What I'm here is to defend common sense, right? We got to get back to common sense in everything. Politics, whatever it is, like they bank on us not thinking for ourselves. The immediate reaction is, oh, Trump is going to prosecute Beyonce, which he can't unless she did something wrong, right? But because they know we go after that, it's fodder. It's actually what it is. It's fodder. They know we'll go after that. Yeah, you're going to prosecute Beyonce. And why? Ask yourself, why should she be prosecuted if she didn't break any crimes or commit any crimes? You know what I'm saying? So we cannot like the Democrats, but not lie on the Democrats because they already do enough of that. Does it make any sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Lawrence, how you doing? It says low-hanging fruit, slaves pay up. Lala says Trump trolling, that's his favorite pastime. You ain't lying. Easy E in the building. What's going on? MC Fact, what's going on? Hope you're having a great day. Let's see. Sandra, how you doing? Says Trump just doing ish to keep away from Epstein files case, lock him up. Yeah, I mean, if he did something that he wasn't supposed to be doing with Epstein, then yeah, he should be locked up. You know, I'm for anybody messing with kids to be locked up most expeditiously, okay, and not a moment later. That's just the way it is, right? Gabriel, how you doing? He says last night Jason Black rather strongly asserted that only he, Tariq, and Professor Black are to be called new Black media. It makes me no difference. I don't listen to none of them, to be honest with you. I don't listen to Jason, Tariq, or Professor Blacktooth. And I have my reasons. I don't have anything against any of them, but I just have my own reasons for that. Which I will not get into here. So I don't care what they say. They ain't got, do they have ownership on the words new Black media? If they have a patent on or whatever, then I can understand that. But anyway, but welcome. Let's see. President 48, how you doing? Says the Democratic Party was always taking dark money to stay in power and control in American politics. So go after them, not Beyonce at all. Okay, President Trump, yeah. Beyonce is that thing to keep people upset. You know, there's always has to be a thing to keep people upset and distracted away from the real issues, which is why I always tell y'all about this book here, Communist Manifesto. I'm telling you, it's a short book. It's 44 pages. So it's a short book. There's not even that many words on the damn page, right? But the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx, Frederick Engels, it tells us why things are the way they are now. And a lot of this stuff is a distraction. Okay, it's a distraction. Meshka, how you doing? He says Trump said release the documents, but a judge said no. Is that what was last heard? I think you're saying Teflon Don. Yeah, that is true. A judge said no, not to release them. I think it was the transcripts, but they already have the files. So what Pam Bondi said. So the transcripts from the trial, or the trial, the grand jury trial is what it is, and the actual FBI files are two different things. So there you have it. And I don't know who appointed that judge. That's another thing we should think about. Judah, how you doing? It says most immature man on the planet, that old Donald J. Trump. Okay. Brother Don, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Rocky's a survivor. How you doing? Says, yo, that beat. What? Who's BBL Stank? Johnson, how you doing? He says, leave the Democrats alone. They bad news. Yeah. I'm not messing with the Democrats too much at all. No reparation, no vote. He says, what's going on? Marvin Gaye. I'm just playing. Frank, how you doing? He said, he's an actor. Yes. Donald Trump is definitely, I consider, one of the modern day greatest showmen. And that's not necessarily a good thing, but it can be a good thing. I think he's the greatest showman in modern day history. Because everybody that hates Donald Trump now loved him at one point in time. Everybody was all wrapped up in the Trump. Everybody wanted a golden toilet. And they, everybody wanted and Nelly. Bill Gates, Donald Trump, let me in. Nah. Everybody was wrapped up in the Trump. Why? Because he made it look sexy. He made it look good. That he's jet setting. He's got all these women and, one that we saw, but other ones behind closed doors. But all this money, he's this billionaire. He's got all this money. Everybody's wrapped up into Trump. Why? And then when he got in politics, it's like, oh, okay. So Donald Trump, I think, is the same at his core. The art of the deal, right? He pinned the art of the deal, or at least partially he did. FBA Queen says, okay, Donald J. Trump, you tripping now. Dems and the GOP are both trash. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Yes, indeed. Let's see. All right, I know I'm behind. Cynthia says, I think President Donald Trump has insinuated that the construction of the federal building was over budget, while taxpayers are footing the bill along with them high-ass interest rates. Queen Bee is another story, though. Trump doesn't want to go head up with us Beehive. You said us Beehive, so you and the Beehive. Yeah, and with that federal building, he said it was being built, and Jerome Powell was like, nah, it's been there for 5 years, homie. Get your facts straight. And then he kept on wanting to argue with him. And Jerome Powell was like, whatever, man. Okay. Big Rich, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Frank says, I've been telling y'all Trump is full of it. He is into make money where he's doing to make this country great. Wait, so you're basically saying, what is he doing to make this country great? Well, yeah, I mean, that's what they all do. Trump is just doing it 20 times over, right? Enrich themselves. You think tell me one politician that has gone into office and continued making the same amount of money that they've made. Tell me one that hasn't enriched themselves into being a millionaire, if not close to that, right? What are they making, like $180,000, give or take? I don't know, maybe it's more than that a year, and they coming out millionaires. They all go to Washington. Maybe they don't initially go to be enriched, but that's how they leave, right? Trump is just like, you want to give me a $400 million plane? Bet I'm gonna take it. But the other question is, who checking him? Ain't nobody checking him. So yeah, he getting all this stuff for his, his lineage, which some people argue is illegal. But yeah. Aquamarine, how you doing? Says he's giving his base Beyonce as a scapegoat because her concert outsold every other country artist in history. Well, damn. And they're mad about that. Yeah. You know, and I doubt very seriously Beyonce is worried, right? Exotic, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sister Shirley says Trump is probably forgetful because I'm getting forgetful and he's older than me. Hell, I'm 54 and I be forgetting. I walk into a room, I'm like, nah, I know I came in here for some reason. I literally have to walk out and then go back in and say, that's what I came in here for. So yeah, I get it totally. Meshka says, okay, so if they release the files, what they gonna do about it? Well, I think it'll quench the curiosity as to who's in it and what was you doing in it. Because there's people who went to Epstein Island and maybe just had a drink or something and they say, hey, everybody, we're here for the party. But then there's some that went there which is why Ghislaine, is that how you say her name? Maxwell, she's in jail for 20 years for sex trafficking. And Epstein, you know, they was like, yeah, buddy, you going down for the count, right? So it's just the question as to what was you doing over there? You know, Alabama Breeze, what's going on? Says they're using her for a distraction to cover their own ish like a dog. Ooh. Lance, how you doing? Says this is why celebrities need to be careful in supporting politicians, especially when that politician doesn't really have their back. Yeah, and you know, we don't like celebrities in politics, especially when they tell us what to do, right? Because as Malcolm X said, we shouldn't be listening to them anyway, because only the Black community gets the entertainers, right? The celebrities, you know, the actors, and he says the puppets to come and tell us who to vote for and all that other stuff. Nobody else gets that but us. So we ain't too fond of that. No way. I wasn't listening to Beyonce. I don't care what Beyonce got to say, because Beyonce don't have my circumstances. Beyonce, you know, will never have to twerk again. And she gonna be all right 20 lifetimes over. The rest of us, yeah, we gotta bust a hustle. So yeah. FBA Queen, thank you so much for that love and appreciate you. Says, hey Queen, keep putting out the NBM info. He says, I'm not a Pan-African, but I rock with you. Boycott all non-FBA businesses in our community. Yes, all non-FBA, right? And that's, again, not to say we hate anybody else, because as Dr. Claude Anderson says, we're good at boycotting. We boycott ourselves while giving money to everybody else. So we got to really not even focus on not giving our money to everybody else. We need to shift the focus to giving it to ourselves and building businesses. So this won't even be a conversation, right? But 100%. Thank you once again. Diane, how you doing? Katrina, what's going on? Says, I was disappointed to learn that Beyonce took money to come on stage. Allegedly, she didn't. And per the FEC filings, there's no record of her taking any money, which campaigns have to file the money that they bring in and the money that they pay out. So there is no record of that. Now, is there something nefarious going on with the feds? It could be. It wouldn't be the first time, right? But there's no record of her even taking the money. And there's no nothing saying that it's against the law for her to do that. Entertainers can be paid money by a campaign, whether it's Republicans or the Democrats. So there's no laws against them even doing that. So I just want to kind of put that out there. But me personally, if I was to donate to a campaign, I would feel a way if you're giving money to entertainers instead of using it for something else, you know. Be good. How you doing? It says all they're trying to do is get us riled up. We're always the focus. Don't be fooled. There you go. Carmen, how you doing? It says Kamala owes some people some money. Yeah, from what I understand, she's still in, I don't know, she's still in debt. I know at one point in time, Trump was talking to the GOP, said, hey, why don't we help settle the debt? You know, after he won, he was feeling a little bit, you know, too good. So he was like, yeah, maybe we should just pay the debt off, right? And it's not unusual for people to have their campaign debt paid off, perhaps by another party or their own party or something like that. So, yeah. All right, so let me see who else is on here, because I know I'm so far behind. Y'all must forgive me. David, how you doing? Says old Trump is doing everything in his power to deflect from the Epstein stuff and his health issues. Beyonce, Biden, Obama, etc. Yeah, it is becoming real obvious. But he's doing what a lot of people do that perhaps don't want to get caught. Let me just keep throwing something out there to see what sticks. And if this sticks, then, you know, ain't too many people going to die on the hill of Beyonce, you know, being prosecuted, because it's not going to happen. You know, so I think he's going to have to open the files. He's opened all the other files. You know, you put all of Martin Luther King's business on out there. They are open some of JFK's files. Well, all right, open up the Epstein files and keep it a buck. Most of the people that was connected to the MLK and JFK files, they ain't even here no more. So is it important for historical context? Sure. but we need to right now, right? So people that are, potentially in the Epstein files doing something they shouldn't be doing, they here now. That's where the interest should be. So let's see. FBA Queen says Kamami is a dude. What is a dude? But she hide campaign funds. He says if not, you can prosecute stupid. So you're saying she's a dude? Kamala is a dude. Is that what you're saying? And maybe I'm reading that wrong. Lily, how you doing? Victoria's what's going on? It says evening, Demetra. Democrat judge Robin Rosenberg blocked the release. Okay, the Epstein files. She was appointed by Barack. Something to think about. If Trump was really on the list, why didn't they release it? Because as I said, then that's that false dichotomy, right? Well, if Trump is on the list, why didn't the Democrats release it? Probably because they on the list too. It's probably a lot of it's probably this list really probably ain't got a lot to do with politics. It probably got a lot to do with people who was over there doing regular stuff and people who was over there doing stuff that wasn't regular, right? And the people who was doing some of both are probably on both sides of the aisle. Maybe some ain't politicians at all. So, one thing we got to listen, come on. One thing we got to realize is the wealthy gonna protect the wealthy. That all that politics, gender, religion, all that other stuff is for us. This ain't for the wealthy. All that stuff ain't for the wealthy. The wealthy said we part of the money class. The bourgeoisie, the ones that owns the means to production. That's the class we part of. Give them politics to fight over. It's like if you ever gone to court and you think your lawyer, he or she got on the boxing gloves for you. Yeah. And then when they say recess, he go over to the other side and say, to the other attorney, where you want to go for lunch? And you're like, lunch? I thought you hated them because I hate them. They're like, man, we both getting money, okay? Regardless if we win or lose, we get money. All this divisiveness. Now, the lawsuit, not being a great example in this regards, but we give all this stuff to y'all, to you proletariat to argue over. Don't worry about what we doing up here. Y'all just stay fighting over the scraps on the bottom. So they probably all on the list, is what I'm saying. Oh, gee, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hank, what's going on with you? Says, tell Trump to pay up then. Brother Reddy says, FEC Filing show Oprah's company, Harpo Productions, received 2 payments, $500,000 each from the Harris campaign. So, yes, and Oprah did say that. She says, my team got it because, she threw that town hall or whatever it was. So she said, yeah, there was some production costs. My team got that, to host it. But she says, me personally, I didn't get the money. But, and again, I'm not an Oprah fan. I don't need to defend Oprah at all. But it makes sense. She got $1 million to host a town hall that was televised and all that. $1 million is probably cheap. And Oprah got what? She holding about $3 billion. $1 million. She probably drinks that away every day. But yeah, I get you. All right. So let's see who else haven't I seen? Jay, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you for that. He says, when speak, Kamala can't say for it's what? If you can rewrite that, I don't want to speculate what that means. But if you can rewrite that, I appreciate that. Diane, thank you so much. My hair actually shrunk up. It's very hot. And I went to the gym and my hair was still wet when I combed it. So, but thank you. I appreciate that. One who cares how you doing. Hope you're doing well. Sydney, I always love when you have time to grace us with your presence, as I know you are very busy. Says, hi, the question everyone should ask, how did Epstein become a math teacher as a college dropout? And how did Epstein make his money? I think that's a good question. I heard he was a financier. He delved in finances, which, some people do that and they strike it big. I don't know whether stock market or whatever it is. That's not unusual, but I think you ask a good question. How did he get his money? I totally agree with you. Something to think about. Cameron, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. FBA Queen, you say, as far as Beyonce, greed is not a prosecutor offense, so it's an offense to be prosecuted. She's got the bag. Yeah, I think between her and Jay-Z, they worth what I don't know, $2-3 billion. So yeah. Baraka, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. How you doing? Good evening to you as well. Let's see. Ricky says whether Beyonce accepted the money for Kamala, better say her name right, endorsement, or President Trump visited or had X with minors on a private island. They already seen the distractive potential in these files, folklores, mysteries, fables, stories, conspiracies, or whatever they decide to call it. If they disclose anything about it, be prepared for the information to be vague with a limitless amount of possibilities. I totally agree with you. Will they release them all? Because the stuff they did release is redacted, right? Redacted, of course, means it's blacked out, so you can't see names, numbers, or anything that's kind of identifiable. Usually that's what it is. Lena, how you doing? Says Trump is pulling another stupidity stunt. Yeah, and the question is, will we fall for it? You know, and on both sides, listen, on both sides of the aisle, are we going to finally wake up and say we've all been played? We've all been played by the ones that owns the means of production. That's the oligarchy, right? The ones that's owning the Amazons and the, you know, all the other stuff they out there owning. We're just falling for it. The arguing makes us think that we have a say-so. Oh, they care so much about our opinion. If they cared about our opinion, wouldn't the country run a little bit better? As they say, we have democracy. Democracy is in danger. That's what the Democrats ran around saying. Democracy. Democracy means you have a say-so. And when have you been able to walk to see yourself up into the White House and say, I don't like how y'all running the joint around here. I think y'all need to do A, B, C, and D. And they say, getting right on it, son. When have you been able to do that? Never. But again, the gig is to make you think you have a say-so. But if you know the end of this book and what it says is going to happen, then, and I won't give it away. All right, so let's see, Mr. Mystical, how you doing? Keep it real, yes indeed. Carrie, how you doing? Sydney says, and is the U.S. Assistant AG connection? I don't know. You're asking questions I have no knowledge of, and you're asking some good questions. King Charles says, I don't believe Beyonce should be prosecuted. She didn't do anything wrong. Trump just scared about the Epstein files, so he's reneging at the table. Yeah, and throwing Beyonce on the table, right? Because you either love Beyonce or you don't, right? I think that's fair to say. So yeah, FBA Queen there, yes. This book is a good book. MC Fact, so you're saying, okay, Jason Black, the Black Authority is faceless and calls blacks the N-word. He also disrespects black women. He has called them H's and B's. So I don't have to speak much, huh? I don't have to say why. You know, no shade to nobody, but I want to be able to see your face. You could be anybody, especially, and I'm not saying this about him, I'm just saying in general, right? You could be anybody, especially with the day and age of AI. And, you know, them folks being caught behind burner accounts and all kind of stuff, cosplaying as black women and black people. Now, I'm going to need to see your face if I'm going to take any instruction from you. And that's just me. I ain't speaking for nobody else. I'm speaking for me. Let's see. Uh-oh, somebody got invited to the to the block party. Oh, Lord. D, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Reddy says, facts. Oprah says she wanted to be Trump's VP. I mean, and you could go and look at on the internet, shoot, Oprah and Trump, they was homies. He even said on her show, you know, I'm a Democrat now, but I can run as a Republican and win. And I think it was on his show, her show, where he said he can go out to the middle of Times Square and somebody and get away with it. He said that on her show. So Live Life, how you doing? Says Rip. He says Aaliyah, Kathy White. He says, and all the 90s singer groups who can't make new music while they have a concert every week. So Shalon, some love, and Trump. He says, okay, Aaliyah. I thought that was all one name. I mean, I'm not hating on Beyonce. I mean, Beyonce is great at what she does. She worked hard for what she's done. Solange is not hurting for money. Solange, yeah, she's a great singer. I actually like Solange's music better, but Solange got a whole lot of other stuff she's doing. She's got like home decor, and she's curating operas and all kind of stuff, right? Solange is dope. So yeah, don't think because she ain't in the spotlight like her sister that she ain't getting it out the mud, or she definitely getting it, right? But yeah, but I'm never gonna hate on Beyonce. Beyonce worked hard for where she is, you know, her and her parents and all of that. African Native says, I think Trump will be the perfect character for the Simpsons series alongside Homer. Well, he's been on the Simpsons quite a few. times. Let's see who else is on here. Pure Grow, how you doing? Says, don't forget about the FBI files found. Yeah, exactly. Gene, how you doing? Asarte, what's going on? Grand rising to you as well. Sydney says, transcripts of any grand jury is usually short and no information. The state, or in this case, the Southern District of New York, gives you a little bit of information. Right. So, I mean, didn't Trump and them say that they were going to release those? And then now you said a judge is not going to do it. So, and then the other thing, Sydney, is, are they in cahoots? See, again, they make us think they don't like each other. It's very well possible that they're like, listen, Democrats and Republicans, come here. You want to listen, you want to listen. This is what we need to do. We need to play it like this, right? That wouldn't be far-fetched at all. But we're thinking, I gotta be team blue, I gotta be team red. It's like, you ain't got to be nothing. Okay, what you got to be is common sense. That's what we should be, is common sense. And realize that we are all being played. We're all being played. And when I say all, I mean the people who won't think for themselves, the people who need somebody to tell them what to do every waking moment of the day, and they never have to think. We're living in a scary time where people don't have to think no more. You don't want to think about some Chat GPT. Is water wet? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when we start thinking again for ourselves, then a lot of this stuff is going to like appear before our very eyes. Not that it was ever hidden. It was just hidden from people who don't think. So let's see. Moving on down. Tracy, how you doing? Says Demetria, how are you doing? You know, I cannot complain. Corey, what's going on with you? I know I'm so far behind, but I promise you all I'm going to get to everybody's comment at least once. Thank you, FBA Queen, for gifting 5 Demetria K membership. Love it. Appreciate you for that. Mental OG, yes, distracted. We got to stop being distracted, right? Keep focused on the bouncing ball, okay? Remember, I was some show where I can't remember, it was like in the 70s or 80s or 60s, where you have to follow the bouncing ball. People don't follow the bouncing ball no more. It'll bounce one time and then they off looking at something else. Ball done ran all off in the doggone street and all that. Ain't nobody focusing on the bouncing ball anymore. And the thing is, we have to define what is the bouncing ball. Nobody knows anymore what the bouncing ball is. We don't follow the bouncing ball. We follow the bone that they throw like a dog. You throw a bone, a dog will chase it. We got to be a little bit above a dog, not run after every bone that's tossed. Missions Vision, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Wellen, what's going on? It says it makes sense of why they say there is a stairway to heaven and a highway to hell. Yeah. Also like that road, right? The road to destruction is wide. Salvation, not so wide. Because everybody ain't really trying to go there. You know, they on the road to destruction because that's what that's what the party is. That's what the city girls and the hot boys, all of that is going on, you know, the road to destruction. So good point. Mental D says shouldn't have been cooking collard greens in a tub. What? Yeah, that somebody told her to do that, and then it wasn't nobody auntie. It was somebody, you know, who making casseroles every night for their family. Those are the ones I heard you wash. You know, Kamala, you gotta wash the greens. But, you know, put them in the bathtub and telling you wash the greens in the tub. Now, because no black woman or worth her weight as a black woman told Kamala to wash no greens in no nasty bathtub. I don't care how often you clean the bathtub. Think about what you do in the tub. Now think about would you want to be washing your food in a tub? Hell to the no. Minrico, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Mr. King, what's going on with you? Terry, how you doing? Says, what's good, Mr. Demetria? Hope you are. I am fabulous. I cannot complain. I'm a little tired, but you know, I'm making it. I'm making it. Tradino, what's going on? I'm glad that you're watching. Mr. Norris, how you doing? He says the Democrats wait for Trump to say something about blacks and the bootlegs try to bring it to us. It ain't working. Yeah, it's not, right? Not at all. We're not falling for it. Back in the day, yeah, but you know, we're waking up, and from what I understand, we ain't supposed to say new black media anymore because we ain't got the right to say it. So I like to really liken ourselves to the poor righteous teachers. You know, maybe we'll start using that term. Brother Don says he said Mossad ran illegal arms and high-level extortion. So you're talking about Epstein. I don't know nothing about that. I just kind of heard he delved in money. But okay, Katrina says the record states that Kamala paid $165,000 to Beyonce production company. Right. Far cry from $11 million, right? So, you know, and again, none of that is illegal. If she did give her $1 million, $11 million, it's not illegal. So Trump is running around talking about they investigating and it should be prosecuted for what? It's not against the law. You know? Panama Black, what's going on? It says, what? FBA got played by what? If you don't mind me asking. FBA Queen says, y'all read the Communist Manifesto and Plato's The Allegory of the Cave. Yes. I read that a long time ago. I actually should reread that, but yes, I read it a long time ago. Daryl, how you doing? Says, I'm glad he won, but at times he's losing his mind. He thought he could talk to China and Russia like children to Epstein. Black book got him rattled. Yeah, because he even tried to tell his base, suck off. If you don't like it, suck off. I don't need you anyway. And they was like, oh, yeah. And then that's when he came and said, well, we're going to release the transcripts from the files. Now they're not. But people like, yeah, we know ain't much in there in them files. Knock it off. Facts, not feelings. How you doing? Said it's going to be a problem for Oprah and Beyonce if they can prove the campaign donations fraudulently received. If they were fraudulently received, that's where, obviously the law comes into play. But there's nothing to say that they can't get that money. There's no rules in the FEC that says that entertainers cannot get money from campaigns to entertain or whatever it is. But yeah, if they circumvented the process somehow, then yeah. Daphne, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Chris, what's going on? He says Trump is a perfect example of devil throwing a rock and pointing fingers. I got what you're saying. Laverne, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Well, thank you. And I love you for being here. It's okay. Late is better late than never. MC Fact says, that's right, Dimitri. You want to see a face before taking advice. Heck, JB is not even his real name. It's not? Oh. Cindy says, former AG Barr father got Epstein the math teacher job in the NYC. Epstein was fired for, yes, I heard about that in the past. And somehow people thought he was a great guy to keep hanging around, right? Yeah, absolutely. Is that when they was doing the deposition and they asked him about Trump? Is that the one? Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong. Money Move says, yes, that's the best party. Common sense. Yeah, we got to get into common sense. Tradina says, be alert and sober at all times, family. Great advice. African Native says, ChatGPT for me is no different than the horoscope. It's a tiny bit better than the horoscope, but I get the sentiment nevertheless. You should still kind of, do some cross-referencing, make sure you're getting the right advice, because I use ChatGPT and it said something to me once that I knew wasn't real. And so I asked it again and it says, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't right, right? So then, of course, I had to go do my due diligence somewhere else because I'm like, yo, you ain't telling the truth on here. Okay, gosh, I'm so behind. Dano, how you doing? Let's see. Yes, Sydney said, I would recommend reading 1984. That's actually on my list to read. It actually is. It is. I'm going to read it one day. 48 TCO, how you doing? Says, Roland ain't been right since Deborah Duncan left his A for that white man and had a child with him. He's never been the same. I ain't never heard about that. I thought the wife that he has now was the wife that he's always had. Y'all, I learned something new. Oh, is that what messed him up? Now, MC Fact says, Dimitri, Phil, Scott, Vicky are definitely Black media in a respectful way. Yeah, and that's kind of the problem, too, when we start labeling ourselves. You can't sit with me. Oh, well, you can't sit with me. We're grown, okay? I've never met, outside of Sister Vicky, Brother Phil, and a few others, I've never met Tariq, Black Authority, Jason. I've never met them. I wouldn't, if they were standing in a town square across the way from me, I wouldn't know who they are. Well, if you don't show your face, you wouldn't know who they are anyway. I'm just saying. But yeah, just more stuff to be divisive, right? Y'all better, I'm telling y'all, I can't really just go into a lot, but y'all gotta start waking up. Not y'all, them over there. Start waking up. Why are we so divisive now? It's getting bad. Now, we don't like the Africans. We don't like the Caribbeans. We don't like these people. Now we don't like people in Black media. We who banging on black media now? What they the Bloods and we the Crips? Like, what are we doing here? At what point do we start calling it a thing and saying this is lunacy? When do we start putting our foot down and say all of this is a distraction? None of this is helping us move the needle. When we claiming people now, see, I'm not running no cult, and I'm not necessarily saying nobody else is. I'm not running no cult. I'm not in no cult. I've never bowed down to cult-like behavior. And a lot of us need to realize when we are being sucked into cults. Because cults talk to you. Cults don't talk with you. Because cults have to talk to you, cult leaders per se. And again, I'm not likening anybody to that. But they tell you, do this, do that, and they this, and they that, and do this, and do that. Somebody who's interested in building something with you, they have a conversation with you. What y'all think about this? I value your opinion. What do you think we need to do to move the ball forward? They don't say you do this and you do that. You don't call yourself. They don't do that. But see, they can do that because they know people in the cult suffer from a few things. Low self-esteem, low knowledge, no knowledge of self, and they need a sense of belonging because somewhere in their life, they felt like, and that's easy to do for Black Americans, right? Because we've been told by everybody, you don't belong. You can't sit here. You can't drink out of this. We're not giving you our seasonless soup. You know, we've been told that, right? So then you have certain people who are very smart. If you study anything about cults and their leaders, again, not likening anybody to that, they are smart. They know that about the people that follow them. They know that all I got to do is tell them what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who to do it to, and they'll do it. And it's hard to unlearn that. So I tell y'all this about me. Donovan says it all the time. Don't believe what we say. Research for yourself. I could be up here saying anything. I'm not. I could be up here saying anything. And how do you know? One of the coldest classes I ever took was philosophy. And I was like, I could have just took this class and not took no more classes and spent all that money on an education. It's philosophy. Because you know what philosophy asks? One simple question. How do you know? Somebody told you the color was red. How do you know it's red? Who came up with the color red? Why did they name it red? See, it asks you to think, to critically think, to think about why are you telling me this and what should I do with this information? A lot of people know we won't do that. So when we start doing that, not even as Black Americans, but as a society as a whole, we're not going to keep going to the polls and voting for people who don't have any thing good planned for us. We're not going to spend the money with people who don't like us and a whole host of other things I'll be here forever talking about when we start thinking. So that's why I said we got to start using common sense. This right here, this show is a common sense zone. I'm not the smartest person in the world, never have been, but never will be, never claim to be. But between us, everybody on here, we're going to come to the common sense. Whether y'all correct me or I give y'all something, I know that we get to the common sense because we're doing it together. I'm not up here barking orders at you and telling you what to do, insulting y'all and talking about people mama when they come on here acting crazy. I will say that. I'm trying not to do that as much, but I'm not insulting y'all. I'm not calling y'all names and all that other stuff because I love y'all. I never met most of y'all, but in order for me to love myself, I also got to love my brother and sister, even though I've never met y'all. So I'm not going to be on here talking to y'all crazy and all that other stuff. People who really care about your best interest, they don't try to break you down to do that. They build you up by imparting knowledge on you and making sure that you are better off when than you were when you got here. That's my goal. Make sure that we're all better off before you got here, whether you learned something or, we came to an understanding or something. That's it. So I got 50 seconds left. Let's see who else is on here. Oh, I was running my mouth. Queen Yashmin, how you doing? Says Jason Black is not keeping his identity from the people, but the dominant society. It's okay to listen to take what resonates. I have no critique about any of them at all, as I do not follow them. I do not listen to them at all. So I don't have no critique. I just hear what people say to me about them. I don't follow them, not one bit at all. And I have my reasons for doing that. But yeah, so I can't tell people how to listen to people and who and what to do. What y'all do with the information is on you. I'm just saying, just be wise in the information that you get. Balance Waves, how you doing? Says I watched 1984 on YouTube. You still may be able to view it. You know what? That's a good idea. I might watch that tonight. Hopefully I don't fall asleep. November Rain, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Simo, what's going on with you? Shan, hope you're doing well. Sunlight, he says more threads needs to hear this. She gives mad minion vibes. I haven't seen more threads on here lately. Where is she? Do y'all know where she's at? I haven't seen more threads. It's been a while. I'm just reading y'all comments. Sunshine, how you doing? Says that lady got fired from her nursing job. I heard about that lady who was saying something spicy. But yeah. Yes, and you know what, Katrina, it is my pleasure to be on here. I love doing this. I told you I was gonna be here 5 days a week, and I'm doing it, right? I'm challenging myself to do that. So anyway, I will be back here tomorrow with Donovan, as he has so much to say about the topic. I'm gonna have to just choke him out before we come on here. We're gonna be talking about Trump getting rid of Section 8, but we're gonna do it obviously from a common sense standpoint, never from anything hateful, because it's not even what the narrative is about out there, like, oh, black people. It ain't even that. So we're gonna get into it. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Again, if y'all found any value in what we did here, there's ways to donate to the channel. At the very least, like and subscribe and all that. Make sure that y'all go up to the African Diaspora News channel at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time and to watch Brother Phil, as he's always bringing the heat about things we need to know. So anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.